Hello, everybody. I know there are still people that want to get food, but one thing we still have a commitment to do is respect everybody's time. So we will work out. This is our first time here. Work out the any bugs we have in terms of the food getting there at a certain time. We'll have 2 lines next time, so we'll run like clockwork next time. So thanks for being patient today, and for those of you still standing, sorry we're starting the meeting when you're still standing, but thanks for understanding. Welcome to the July 11th, 2022 meeting of the Rotary Club of Raleigh. I am your new president, Tom Packer, and I think it's, as we talked last time during the induction, I think it's going to be a great year. We're here in our new surroundings at the gym room at a great new restaurant, and so far so good. It's wonderful. They've been great to work with us. For those of you on Zoom, we're trying to make the experience for you the best as possible as well. We're going to be experimenting with moving the owl, which focuses in on speakers and the room. So be patient. We would like your input though. Alfonso will be, I think, putting in the chat room, asking for any input you have. Let me know any input. We want to make it the best experience for everybody. I do have some news to break to the people on Zoom though. You're missing garlic knots, mixed green salad, 4 cheese ravioli, and chicken parmigiana with cheesecake with caramel drizzle. So if we can entice you to come next time, it'll be even better. The city, Restaurant City, will be catering a lunch next week. So to start off, we have a new, as you know, chair of club administration, Tommy Kelleher. And Tommy is here in person, and he'll lead us off with an invocation. Again, people standing, we go ahead and look over wherever it's Tommy speaking, so I understand, the back seat or anything. But Tommy, you want to come up and say a few words?
Thank you, Tom. It is very appropriate in this new space with all of us together with a great meal in front of us that we stop for a little moment of gratitude before we get going. So I've got a blessing here for us, and we'll proceed with today's meeting. So bow your heads, or as your tradition allows, join us in prayer. We're thankful for this day that you've given us, for its blessings, its opportunities, and its challenges. May we appreciate and use each day that comes to us. We pray for strength and for guidance for each day as it comes, for each day's duties, for each day's problems even. May we be challenged to give our best always, and may we be assured of your presence with us. Amen. 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 Thank you. This is the pledge of allegiance, which will run your heart. So if you'll join with me, we'll say the pledge. Thank you. Pledge of allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Do we have any guests here today? We're on Zoom.
Welcome, everybody. We do have a couple guests today. First of all, John Luke, would you like to stand up and introduce yourself, please?
Everybody, my name is John Luke. I am here.
Lawrence Davis, from his company, if you'd like to stand up and introduce yourself, please.
I've been in Washington for about 20 years now. I'm here as a guest of the board, so I'm just helping Adrian today around.
And then if we have everybody on Zoom, if you could please unmute yourself and introduce. Okay, thank you very much.
All right, thanks, Linda. And we've continued the tradition of having the blue cart buckets on the table for dementia research. So please be generous today as we start out the new year and enter deposit any loose change or dollar bills that you have. That'd be much appreciated. Charlie? No, you're off the hook. If there are any happy dollars, hit for us.
Yes, sir, David. Yes, I would like to thank Elsa and President Tom and everybody else who helped us find this awesome venue. Round of applause. I'm happy early middle.
Well, Charlie, I have $5 because I don't know if Kirk Warner is happy or not, but this is for I can't believe it category of my alma mater UCLA joining the Big Ten for some reason. So.
That's right. $5. Fair enough.
And who knows, Tar Heels Wolfpack may be joining the whatever it is now. Oh, man. Okay. Very good. By way of announcements, this is a summary of some of our upcoming meetings that we have. We're meeting every week until mid-August. We take a little summer break. But this will get us to our break in mid-August. As you can see, we have our special guests today here who you'll hear from later, Becky French and Bill Williams. But there's a great speaker next week from the NC Wildlife Resources about all the wild animals in our backyards. You'll enjoy it. It's a great presentation. And then Dr. Hill from Wake Med talking about childhood obesity in Wake County. What I think probably want to think about much. August 1st is a really interesting guy. He's a PhD in history. He's going to tell us why we're shaped, or why our state is shaped the way we are in North Carolina and how that came to be. And then a friend of mine, Keith Fishburne, who's president of Special Olympics North Carolina. He and a special athlete will be here to talk to us on August 8th. So right now, I'd like to call up Richard Everett to talk about service. Richard is our new service chair, if you don't know, and we're really happy to have him. His enthusiasm and energy, as you recall last year, that book drive, he was relentless in whipping us to get thousands of books, it seemed like, for the reading project. And he'll give a presentation in a couple of weeks about what's in store for the year, but coming up, he wants to talk about our next upcoming service project. Richard?
Thank you, President Tom. And before I start, I'd like to share a quick life hack with you. If you're like me and got tomato sauce in your shirt, you can cover it up with your Rotary fans. Yes, so welcome everybody to our new Rotary year. Our first Rotary project is July 30th. This is a habitat build that Kevin is leading. It's in Baybrook Townhomes. The address, it's off of Deer Pool Road and New Hope. If you go to our website and you can sign up. Currently, we have 12 slots available. It's from 8:15 to 3:30. Interesting enough, we were actually partnering with City Club on this, so I guess that's all milk under the bridge, and I would have had that relationship. So again, let me also preface this: you do not have to be handy or have a tool belt to do this. I can lift heavy things in all directions, so as my wife will verify. So again, I encourage you, if you're not handy, please come. Kevin's going to lead us to try to do things, and I look forward on the 25th to sharing our new projects. You'll find the theme here, the call the tenants of Rotary, very local projects, and some things that are really impacting our community. And I appreciate this opportunity to lead the project. Thank you.
Richard mentioned the City Club, who we're doing this project in conjunction with. Even though we have left the part of the City Club for our new venue here, the good news is that they have firmly let us know they want to remain a corporate member of Rotary Club. So we'll be seeing Patrick and other members from the club, which I think is a great relationship to keep, because I know some of you are members of the City Club, some of you work there during the week, have meetings there during the week, so it's a great partnership. And as you can tell, the sign up for the service is, there's a City Club link there, and a long way to building our relationship with them. Next is, before we get to Harrison, I want to squeeze in one more. If you recall, a couple of weeks ago in June, there was our Rotary District 7710 installation banquet for our new district governor, Nathan Thomas, and also for club presidents. I couldn't make it because of a travel conflict, but we had a handful of members there. I think Bill and Suri were there, Alfonso and Alfredo, and our own Patty Rooney was there. So I'd like to have Patty come up, and remember about Patty, for him to the respect to which he is entitled. He is a past district governor, a Rotary International District 7390 in Pennsylvania. So Patty, you want to give us a couple of comments about the event and let people know what happened?
You should never let a past district governor and a preacher.
Hold on. I'm trying to do two things.
As Tom said, the installation took place a couple of weeks ago, as it does every year. One of the great characteristics of Rotary International is that we indeed change our leadership every year. That provides an opportunity for fresh blood to come in, fresh thinking to come in each and every year. And so we had 5 or 6 of our members from this club attending what I thought was a very fine turnout. About 200 people gathered together for the installation of our new district governor, Nathan Thomas. But we also took time to honor our past district governor and our past district governor, Angie Harrison, who has done, I think, a very fine job for us in the last year, particularly as we ended with the COVID. She dealt with much of the stress and strain of that. So it was a good time to recognize her, the work that she had done, for the opportunity to thank her for all of that work. We also mentioned, of course, with great delight, that our new international president is my good friend, Jennifer Jones. The first time in our history in Rotary International that we've had a woman at the top of the list, and so it's very appropriate. Our speakers today are going to speak to that issue. Jennifer has a wonderful opportunity laid before her, and I think she will seize it with both hands and provide us some real leadership in this coming year. Her theme, as you know, is going to be Imagine Rotary, and what she's asking us to do is literally to do that, to imagine what Rotary will look like, that we break some of the traditional ideas and concepts and really begin to reach out as we can to really continue to make the impact that we know Rotary does each and every minute of each and every day in somebody's life. And so it was a fine turnout, a great opportunity for those of us who were there to celebrate both Angela's work past year and to thank Nathan for taking up the reins this year. I think we're going to see some creativity out of Nathan. He's one of the youngest district governors ever elected, and it's going to be a wonderful opportunity for him to be able to help appeal to some younger folks, and I can say that because I'm in my mid-70s, some younger folks who will be able to help join us in Rotary and help continue to make Rotary the preeminent social action group that we know it is and will be in the future. Thank you so very much.
And next on the agenda, I'd like to call up Harrison Turner. All of you know this already, but hopefully Becky, Harrison is our immediate or president of Rotarian of the Year, who's awarded at the end of last year. So I've noticed he's a little more swinging his step. Membership chair for a membership report.
Hello, all of our wonderful members. So happy to see you here in this new space. It's a new Rotary year in a new space. And I thought the best way to celebrate that is with a new Rotary member. So we're going to go ahead and get started and have Tiffany, if you can just join me up front, please. Either side, wherever you're comfortable. Perfect. So Tiffany Von Reich, who is, Tiffany Von Reich, Mary Moss. Her membership application has been reviewed and approved in accordance with her club's constitution and bylaws. We will now proceed in admitting you into the membership to the Rotary Club of Raleigh and to the friendship of Rotary throughout the world. Before we do that, we have a few questions for you, and we're actually going to have it from the audience. So starting off with Patty. And if you agree to these, you can say I do.
Tiffany, will you join us as we strive to live a life of service above self?
Yes, I do.
Tiffany, will you join us in our activities for service projects and fundraising activities in support of our community?
Yes, I do.
Excellent.
Join us in supporting Rotary efforts worldwide, which focus on these seven important areas: promoting disease prevention, providing clean water and sanitation, maternal and child health, basic education and literacy, economic and community development, and protecting the environment.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And
No.
just speech now. And for all of you, fellow Rotarians, will you join me in fostering and supporting Tiffany as she joins us in our pursuit of adding value to our community through service above self? If so, please say I do. Thank you so much. I'm truly honored to have Tiffany be part of our Rotary Club. She is energetic. She's ready to jump in and get involved with the community. So thank you so much. And Tom, would you please provide her with her Rotary emblem? There's the Rotary. And please wear that with pride. And thank you so much. Everyone. Oh, sorry. Oh, I said everyone. Please join me in welcoming Tiffany Trump.
Mary Moss is Tiffany's that she's online on Zoom. Sorry she couldn't make it today, but she's very happy for you and wanted her to support you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. And lastly, we don't have it on the slide actually, but we'll make sure that Linda and everybody gets that out. Our next service social, go ahead and mark your calendars, the importance of service socials, and that we're able to help support our local elementary schools and the teachers there in providing snacks to children who are unfortunate and aren't able to have those snacks. We've done a phenomenal job so far this year. We want to continue making that emphasis. So it is going to be at 10 and Terrace, which is off of Salisbury Street on July 27th. We usually do it on a Thursday night. This time it's actually on Wednesday. So Wednesday, July 27th from 5:30 to 7. Please mark your calendar. We'd love to have you come out there. Thanks,
So birthdays, Kevin Summers. Kevin, I saw you here. Happy birthday. I know. And anniversaries, Mandy and Susan Woodson, just to talk about Mandy for a second, as you know, he's chancellor at NC State. And we have secured a meeting date in mid-March, I'm gonna say March 13th, to take place on the campus at NC State. They're working on a location for us now where Randy will talk to us about the state of NC State and all that. So, and then Jim and Wynn Dorset, I don't know if Jim's on Zoom or not, but if you are, happy anniversary to you and Wynn. 39 years, which is quite an accomplishment. So congratulations, Jim. So with that, we got us back on track, so which is great. First of all, I just want to ask before we head to our main program, how was the lunch?
Yeah.
I thank everybody. I don't know who's here in the back or whatnot, but I know we need to have one representative from Empire Eats here. We want to thank Empire Eats and Devin Light in particular, who we work with, for taking us in and giving us this venue. Corey, welcome. Help yourself. It's all yours now. So with that, let's move on to our program. As Patty mentioned, this year Jennifer Jones from Toronto, Canada, is president of Rotary International. And again, as he mentioned, she's the first woman president ever that Rotary International has had. And I've had the pleasure of hearing her speak, as I mentioned when I spoke last to you. She came to our president-elect training seminar, and then she also spoke at the Houston International Conference that was last month. And she's very impressive, very energetic. Her words still, I remember, she wants Rotary to consist of members who are people of action, influence, and purpose. And I think everybody in this room, in one form or another, is a leader in that way. And I think it's going to be a great way for Rotary. But it got me to thinking when I knew this was coming up, that it would be interesting to go back to our club because, as we know, women presidents are nothing new to our club. We have Carrie, who will be cleaning up my mess next year as the next president. But going back, we have Dana and Mary and Cindy. So it's nothing new to what I like to think is our forward-thinking club. But go back even farther, back into the 1980s, without going into the detail of it, it ran contrary to Rotary International's constitution for clubs to have women members. There was an exception by law in California, but Rotary didn't change its constitution even after that until later. But in 1987, the club decided to admit, as the history that I read about the club said, they moved to admit 7 prominent women in the community to the club. And again, this was 2 years before Rotary changed its constitution. And so our club back in 1987 took a chance with its charter and remaining in Rotary to admit women members. When the vote was held, it was unanimous, which I think says something. And today we're fortunate to have 2 of those first women members. According to the history, I don't know exactly how this worked, but Becky French was the first, and Hope Williams was the third. And I know one of the women that did in that group also was Lou McNary. We'll remember member Sam McNary, who passed away about 1.5 years ago. Wife at the time, though, Charlie's right. Her name was Lou Troxler, and so I know Lou because she's my next door neighbor, and I would classify her as a prominent member as well. But let me just say a couple words about Becky and Hope, and then have them come up. So just 1 second, I'll give you just a short background on each. Becky French did her undergraduate work at Southeast Missouri State University and then went on to earn a law degree at Southern Illinois University. She practiced private law in Chicago for a bit and then worked at North Carolina State. And she became North Carolina State's general counsel. So she was the university's attorney. And what's interesting though is, and maybe she can explain this, she also became an associate professor in tech studies, which NC State is known for, which is interesting. Becky went on to subsequently work as general counsel for a research triangle-based organization. And since retiring, she and her husband have hosted students on overseas trips abroad, studying textile making in different countries, as well as legal exchanges with attorneys from around the world coming here. And what I liked also is she's found time to, I think she and her husband, become certified Kansas City barbecue judges, which is a big deal, not only in Kansas City. And most recently, the interesting and challenging job these days of an election poll observer in the States. Now, by way of background, Hope Williams has been with the North Carolina Independent Colleges and Universities Organization since 1986. And this is the statewide office of the 36 private and nonprofit colleges and universities in North Carolina. And she served as its president, still does, since 1992. She received her undergraduate degree from Duke and a master's in public administration from State and a PhD in education from Chapel Hill. So she's covered her triangle there. And don't forget, these are our first women Rotary members, and Hope went on to become a Paul Harris Fellow with Rotary. Received the Bill Gibson Award in 1997 for exceptional service to our club. And she also chairs and serves on various boards, including coincidentally the organization that Becky used to be general counsel of, NCNC, and which provides internet connectivity to agencies across the state. And as I mentioned, Becky previously worked there as general counsel. But I think in addition to all their accomplishments and background, I thought it'd be interesting, and I hope you do too, to hear what they had to say, what it was like back then. You know, that was 35 years ago, but it was a momentous decision for the club at the time, I'm sure, doing this under the threat of having its charter pulled, but unanimously deciding to go ahead and do it nonetheless. So I'd like to ask Becky and Hope to come up and sit on these chairs. Hopefully they're not.
I'm gonna get great.
Cheer on up.
I'll be more comfortable.
Reminds me of the fellow who does, he's actually from North Carolina, I think it's Magnus. He does the interviews by Fern. Right. But anyway, we'll see if you need the mic or not. See how that goes. Just bought this new mic stand. This first meeting. There we go. Beyond the introduction that I gave, I thought I'd just first give the microphone to each of you and feel free to tell us, you know, your thoughts, what it was like back then, what led you to join Rotary, and take it from there. And I will facilitate it with a couple of questions, but we want to encourage questions from all of you as well. So Becky, since you were evidently the first admitted, I'll hand it to you first.
Well, this was a great club, and when I worked at NC State, I had to really fine Rotary members, Bill Simpson, who has recently passed away, and Derek Briggs, who was the Dean of Physical and Mathematical Sciences and became Peace College president at Liberty. They came to my office and said they wanted to talk to me about something, and I said, okay. And they said, we would like you to be the first woman member of our Rotary Club. And I went, why? And they said, well, the university has service as a third of our, they call it outreach now, but service, and Rotary is really based on service, both personal and as an organization. And then Derek Briggs said, plus we may be sued over it because Rotary hasn't actually changed its constitution yet, so, but our club wants to go ahead and do it. So I said, great. And because I respected those two members so much, I joined. And it was a wonderful, welcoming group, absolutely welcomed with open arms.
Thanks, Becky. Jane Patterson, I think, was the second woman in Rotary, and she and I had worked together for a number of years. And she called me and said, okay, I'm the second one. You should be the third one. Come on and join us. And I think one of the things that helped me be so interested is certainly the service focus. My first Habitat for Humanity experience was with Rotary. I'll never forget that for every nail we hammered in, the lady who was going to live there went right behind us and hammered an extra one just to make sure we were all good. So there were all kinds of great memories like that, ringing the bell for Rotary and the Polio Plus and all of that. So the service aspect was really important to me as well. But I also knew that the entire club had voted unanimously to do it. I'm not sure I was ready to come into a divisive club that maybe wasn't so sure, and there were certainly plenty of clubs that were not so sure. So it was a very welcoming place, and it's so good to see so many folks here who were here then, Charlie and Randy and Surrey and Lawrence and Bill, and gosh, I know I'm leaving somebody out, but just all the great folks who were very active then. In fact, Bill, I think Dick Henderson was president when we joined in '87, and Bill came right after that on before going on to all the district governor and things that he did. But everybody made us feel like they really wanted us to be a part of things, and that made all the difference.
What, just curious, before you joined the Rotary Club, had you heard of Rotary? Were you familiar with it? Had you tried to join it and then you've been declined or anything like that? And why Rotary as opposed to maybe some other civic club?
My husband, Bill Patterson, had been a Rotary fellow the year before and had gone to Japan for 6 weeks. And he came back just so enthused about, if I remember right, you could not be a Rotarian and be accepted for the Young Professional Fellowship Program. So he was not a Rotary. And he spent 6 weeks in Japan and came back and said, I was so impressed. We were just welcomed with open arms all over Japan and then throughout. And he said, it is a great organization. And so when next year I was invited to come, he said, I really think you should do this. I think it's going to be great.
That's an interesting question because, of course, Rotary was seen as a men's-only organization. And I was delighted when I heard that, hey, they want to be welcoming and open the doors for women to join. And I thought that was such a, especially when I heard that it hadn't been approved nationally or internationally yet, that was such a brave move. I thought, I think I like this group. And I want to be a part of that. And that certainly has been true in terms of all of this. But I will never forget, I think my very first meeting, you mentioned Paul Harris Fellow, and I can't remember who I was talking with, maybe one of you who is here today, who said, yes, we're so glad to have them. Of course, everybody's coming to Paul Harris Fellow to become and support Polio Plus, which I thought was incredible and still do goal, and just the progress that has made is unbelievable. And I just said, okay, all right. And so immediately decided, I think at my first meeting, I joined did what was necessary to become the Paul Harris Fellow. But the commitment that everybody showed to service, both internationally and nationally, I think, to me, showed the impact that Rotary can have. And it was great to be a part of an organization that was so committed.
Was there salvation bell ringing back then?
Yes.
So did you, the thought cross your mind that first year when you're out in freezing rain in December, what the heck is this? Or did you go, I want to got myself into?
I've seen it before, so I know.
That's for me though, I think I had a ship that did have, there was something up above that whenever I was out, it was freezing rain and cold. And one time that there was, that it could be that somehow ended up as my ship, but it was a terrific thing. And actually, I think we first did it down, when I first joined down the old Hudson Bell, or here on Patterson. And then of course that changed and moved on other places.
Before we had lunch today, Becky mentioned to me a story she had after she had just joined. There may still be, because there are sort of mysterious makeup rules that Rotary has. If you miss a meeting, you can attend a Zoom meeting, or if some video by Rotary, or go to another club. But you told me a story that you tried to attend another club's meeting back in after you first become. Tell them that.
It was kind of funny, and when I was inducted, they said, now, if you can't make the Monday meeting, you need to find a Rotary Club wherever you are and attend their meeting. And I said, okay. And I was over doing business at East Tennessee State, which is in Johnston City, and they had a Rotary Club in Bristol, Tennessee. So I called the Bristol, Tennessee Rotary and said, I'd like to come as a guest. And they silent, and they go, why? And I said, well, I'm from the Raleigh Rotary Club. This was 87. And I'm missing my Monday meeting, so I wanted to come to this meeting. And the gentleman said, okay. And so I came to the meeting, and they were polite, but it was, what are you doing? Very polite. And I had that in a couple of foreign countries where I attended meetings. Not in Japan, not in Taiwan, but in some of the Southeastern Asian countries I was in, they found it unusual.
That was one of the challenges of all the makeup, and Bill, I especially remember during that time, we were in great competition with some of the other clubs for the highest attendance rate. So we were all out to get to the makeup time, and that became very difficult with my travel schedule. But I did end up in Quebec and at a national meeting that was being held there, so I called them up and they said, come join us, and I walked in. Of course, they were all speaking French. Luckily, I had done my junior year abroad in France, so I didn't embarrass the club too badly, but it was great to be able to take our club's flag and present that to them, and bring one back and present it to the club there. So that was really a lot of fun, and they were very welcoming. So that was nice to have. But I have to say, there are occasions when I still go speak to civic groups, and certainly including Rotary, even now, and there are not very many women there in some cases. In some cases, it's half the group, and a number of other cases, there may be one or two or not any at all. So there's still a lot of room for growth.
I guess along those lines, after you joined, you were the first, just handful or so women in the club. What happened next in the club with women joining the club? Did you try and help recruit others, or was it just a new notion that maybe didn't catch on right away? You remember anything about that?
No, we approached two female faculty members that we wanted to join, and they said it just wasn't the right time for them. That with their travel and the makeup meetings, and they declined to join. But it wasn't because they didn't think highly of Rotary. It was just they didn't think they could meet the demands or the ads.
All of us and work to think, okay, just like we do now for all members, male and female, think of, okay, who would be a good member? And I think that once women started, we were that kind of core group that then everybody and the male members of the club too, all started thinking, oh, okay, who would be good to join? And so I think there were just as many men presenting women for membership as there were women presenting women for membership. But once you make that step, take that step, that began to grow. And I mean, it was not a huge exponential leap, but it was certainly a very consistent growth. And that was a great thing to see as well, to see that it was so widely supported. Somebody asked me as we were going through the lines, and you must have felt a lot of pressure being one of the first women. I said, I know if we messed up, there might not be any here today. So we're glad we didn't.
Did you get it?
Sure.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, I
We can hear you. Go ahead.
like to mention that Becky came in, and as you can tell today, she's comfortable speaking with anybody or about anything. And she walked into the Rotary Club, and it was like she'd been here for, 5 years. Both got the same type personality, both of them. Becky working at state and both with the school. And no, they walked in and they were part of Rotary from the very first day. It was really unusual, but it may have also been that Eric Elwood was a very active member of the club at that time. And if there's one thing you can say about Eric Elwood, he loved when gloves were women. These two came in and they were favorites of Eric. It was an immediate introduction and acceptance. So thank you for coming back today.
Can I add something? Sure. And hope you'll love this. Bill Simpson and Robert, we had them up in the same seats you're in, different location, talking about their great old days in both Cameron Village and Cameron Park, and also going up and down the streets, pointing out what used to be there, and the World War II stuff. And we asked them, what was the most important thing that this Rotary Club has ever done? And she said, bringing it back to French.
How long did both of you stay in the club? Eventually, I know sometimes life takes over and different turns, but how long were you with the club, and then what kind of led you to?
Was in the club until mid to late 90s when I went to Research Triangle Park. And in some of the companies out there, there is not a culture of people being in Rotary like there is, say, in downtown Raleigh. And they were not, and I traveled a lot overseas with that job, and they were not enthusiastic about me remaining in Rotary. They were enthusiastic if I wanted to do any service projects, but to leave every Monday and drive in was not something that wanted me to do.
And I had a similar situation with 36. I mean, I know that we have 36 in colleges across North Carolina. I'm on the road a lot as well as along with a lot of national commitments that I have. And so it just became impossible to do it. And then unfortunately, I didn't get to that Monday meeting. It was just impossible to make it up, and I feel really guilty about that. And so I felt like I should step back and not do that. But there is one funny story I have to say. We're talking about first women, and this is 1987. When I joined Rotary, I was pregnant with our second child. And we're talking about all these wonderful names from the past. Elsie Bruce. Many of you will remember if you were active during that time. Wanted to say, this was one of the reasons that I thought Rotary was great, is the first Rotary Club in North Carolina. We always talk about, right? So having first women, I thought was also great. Well, LC was determined that we should submit me to the National Organization for the First Pregnant Women. LC know that he did not take no for an answer easily. And so for about the first 2 years that I was in Rotary, I
had to keep saying LC, I'm sorry, but that's really not how I wish to be remembered. I'm glad to be here, but let's think of something else. That was not it, but it was, he was just determined. Glad I wasn't right.
What, thinking back on it, what did you get out of being in the Rotary Club during the time that you were, whether as a woman or not, just as a member?
I don't think it's being a woman, but it's service. And one thing that even though I left the Rotary Club, I have continued to do a lot of service right up to the present time in different things, and have greatly enjoyed it. And I think it's something that when you are a Rotary, that's something you leave with and you want to continue to do. I think that's absolutely true. I think, ringing the bell for Rotary, doing the plus, the Habitat for Humanity. I love the Rotary Scholars piece that we did. We always enjoy having our scholars who we supported come back and speak to our group and hear about their experiences. And just the commitment to the community has made that, I think, such an important part of who Raleigh and Lake County are. And I know there are other clubs that have gone off and done their thing, but this is a very special club. And I think that it was great to be a part of helping with and come from the first part of that. And I was sorry that my schedule just didn't let me participate the way I felt I needed to be able to do the ongoing member. But it was great being a part. I was on the federal committee, I was on the membership committee, I was on the who's called it, as was said this morning, the invitation. And so all kinds of things, and I'll never forget one of the fun things. I'm not sure with all the things going on in the world today, how we could do it that way, but Tom Campbell somehow made the news right for that. I mean, he would present the news at the meetings, and he always found something funny to have the whole group in stitches about. I'm not sure we have news that could make it quite that funny today, but at that time he was able to do that before he went over to spin and other things like that.
I know Tom Campbell from the Weekend Gardener. Anybody else have questions?
And weren't the attendance requirements a lot stricter back then?
Maybe you can talk about that, not just that, but in general, sort of screening for members and attendance requirements and other rules back then. Most of which we don't have now. But what do you remember about that?
Oh, it was tough. It was tough. I mean, if you weren't there, you were expected to do makeup, and at least most of the time. And so that's one thing. It was almost like needing a hall pass. I know. Where were you last Monday? Here's my step. I attended that, but you wanted to be there. And we were down at we were down at the Civic Center, and the old Civic Center. The food today was great, by the way. And I spoke not too long ago to the City Club, so there was a bit of a difference between places, I would say. Back when it was in the old Civic Center days before it is what it is now. But it was, a room full of folks who were all very happy to be there and excited about the projects they were working on. And it was fun, but also feeling good about everybody working on this together.
And just for, especially you younger members, as I understand it, during this time until through the 90s, at least in the early 2000s, we used to meet at a dedicated room at the Civic Center, which had photographic portraits of all the past presidents in the room, and it was the Rotary room. And I believe that they tore that down to build the present convention center, and that's what necessitated the move eventually to the City Club. But different back then. Richard,
did you see like small wrinkles change, like in the bylaws or like, for example, you mentioned strict attendance, you also need to pregnant. I imagine there was a maternity leave in the bylaws, so. How did you navigate
They were
that?
kind of giving me a short leave of absence.
Okay.
I said, do that out of regulations.
Right. But I mean, did you see like, what did you think of this? There's that movie, Top Gun movie out. The first Top Gun, the title card says the best men was selected. Well, the new one, it says the best men and women. So I'm just curious, like any kind of bylaws, or any kind of, or meeting socials, did we mention the socials change maybe, or?
Well, we certainly had a lot of those things, and everybody was very responsive, so I don't remember exactly having to do any major overhauls of any of the infrastructure kinds of things like bylaws and things like that. But I will say that, you know, I certainly, most of myself, but I certainly always felt so welcome. And I think if we hadn't, I'm not sure we would certainly would stay and certainly would have invited others to come join us. But I do think it's just, there is a culture here of the Rotary Club of Raleigh being such a welcoming club and doing such important work that the combination, I think, is what keeps it being really strong.
Well, it's been wonderful having you here. I know Bill wanted to ask you a question as well, Bill.
I just want to make a comment. About a decade ago, my daughter lived in Indonesia for a couple of years. And while she was there, I did a little, I looked into what type of clubs were in the town, big city, a couple of million people. And I found a club there that was all women. They did not accept men. Of course, that is, Indonesia is the largest Muslim country in the world. But there are other worlds that are still single sex. In fact, in '95, when I was governor, a friend of mine from Edenton called me to ask me. They weren't in my district, but I was down at high school with them, wanted to know what the deal was. And they had somebody that moved to Edenton that wanted to join the Rotary Club. And he wanted to know, do they have to take it? And he was an attorney. He understood the law at the time, Florida National. I told him, you don't have to. You should, but you don't have to. I don't know whether they ever done anything for quite a while ago, but I expect they do. But it wasn't, we were out front. Edenton was about 10 years later.
In Tennessee.
Probably would go to Bristol leader.
Well, Becky and Hope, I don't know what you were thinking when you heard from me out of the blue a couple months or so ago to come speak to us, but we're really glad that you took the time out of your busy lives to come speak with us, and you're still very special to our club for what you did and what you represent. So thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
Little token of appreciation to think of us while you're having your morning coffee.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, very good. So perfect. We're exactly on time, the first time here, and it's unless there's anything else that anybody wants to bring up, we'll be taking input and comments about the new venue. You on Zoom about the quality of the sound and audio. I'd like to hear it from you as well. One little change we have is for those of you who still haven't memorized it, the four-way test is back there and also up here. So with that, why don't we rise and of the things we think, say, and do, is it true? Is it fair to all concerned? Will we with our actions? Will be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you, everybody. The meeting's adjourned.